Hey traders, Raghee here, and in this free recap video I'm going to talk about a setup that I think is looking about as good as it's going to look for us going into next week, and that is the oversold Dow. Take a look at this area here, and the oversold S&P futures, which you can look at via the DIA and the SPY futures. Now, the reason I say oversold is these two, unlike the Russell and the NASDAQ, these two markets are in distribution. They have not gone from that volatile chop into actually turning into a downtrend, unlike what we see has happened on the NASDAQ and the Russell. So first of all, it's a very different market trend. We're short these two markets, and we're going to start to reel some of this in, because there's a pretty good chance that next week, going into G20, we could see, as I've mentioned here, the G20 rip. That means just a really, really dramatic, ruthless short squeeze and move higher. Now, the way I want to set up for this is thinking about the what if. And the what if here is, well, what if this doesn't happen? And that simply means that as we close in on November 30th, which is day one of a two-day G20, if we have any chatter about the move to the upside, if we have any sort of optimism going into what could happen when the US and China sit down for G20, the market so far has consistently, reliably rallied on any kind of China news. So if we actually get less rumor and more news surrounding US and China going into the G20, there's a good chance that could be what kicks off the Santa rally. In other words, a lot of folks are asking me, hey Rog, do you think that Santa rally, that seasonal strength we see into year end, is going to happen? And my feeling is yes, but, here's the big but, only if the G20 begins that, sort of lights the fuse to that. And that's where I like where we sit technically at levels where I'd like to see us just hover. Not continue to punch down to lower lows, but just sort of hover in this area, not making any significant lower lows, and testing this, what I think is probably going to be a pretty spongy support zone. Okay, I don't want to get too optimistic on rallies on NASDAQ or Russell. In fact, if anything, we'll start to reel those very nice shorts in, tighten the trailing stops, etc. But what we'll be looking to do is start to price as we sink into that spongy support zone that is oversold, is start to look at perhaps at the money calls. And that's something that we're going to start to look at probably starting around the 27th, next Tuesday, and going right into the 30th, which is that Friday, and being positioned for any kind of news about China, sending this market sharply higher. And I'm thinking probably a pretty decent, say 50% retracement of the last move that we've seen. So we'll talk more about that next week. Put it on your radar. Enjoy your weekend. Don't go too, I hope you didn't go too crazy with Black Friday and Cyber Monday, but do check out, we have a lot of indicators and courses on Black Friday to Cyber Monday special here at Simpler. So if you haven't checked it out, please do, because a lot of you have asked, hey Rog, do the courses ever go on sale? They don't, but about once a year, gang. You know, Black Friday we'll do a special on the indicators and the courses, so check it out. You don't need a code. Everything's taken, I think it's 25% off. I'm not really sure, but do check it out. I'll see you in the next update.